Nevada's not the first or the only state that does it. There are several states, I want to say upwards of 13 states, that are completely silent, meaning it's permissible, it's just not expressly set forth. And then there are 26 states that have some version of what we call ballot assistance. I think ballot harvesting is a misnomer. You're not harvesting ballots. You're not creating ballots. You're not voting for deceased voters. If for example, on Native American tribal land, when they live far, if someone doesn't trust the Postal Service, or they're concerned, or they want, I drive past a drop-off location every day. And so if someone said, hey, since you're dropping it off anyway, can you drop off mine? Well, I'm not harvesting a ballot. I'm assisting somebody in making sure that it gets cast. I don't personally see how it's that different from putting it in the mail. I don't see how if just because it's my wife or my mother, I'm allowed to do it, but my next door neighbor who is elderly and asked me to do it, that I can't drop it off. I'm not signing for them. I'm not doing anything other than dropping it off or delivering it for them. I just don't see what the problem is. Now, don't get me wrong. It is unlawful to commit fraud with respect to elections, and it still is unlawful to commit fraud with respect to elections. But again, I don't see how it's any different. And in this last primary, we had, I can't even remember how many judicial races. And yeah, communities get together, whether it's a senior mobile home park or a church community, and say, okay, who are we voting for on this ballot? Organizations, labor organizations, advocacy organizations, all get together and say they have a slate. I don't see how this is any different than me simply walking a ballot that somebody else has already filled out and signed and dropping it off. That's simply what it is. I think calling it harvesting is just a misnomer, and I think it's a cry to mischaracterize what it is. It's simply assistance. It's assisting somebody and making sure it gets delivered.
Maybe getting caught up in the syntax, but that could be ripe for fraud if you've got people that you don't know where those ballots have been. You don't know if the signature is legit. I mean, there's a whole lots of issues potentially there.
Well, I mean, but that's no different than now where they match signatures. And so if they have to match signatures anyway, and the signature, and I've known individuals who over the years, their signature has changed. They've been called down by the election department to come and verify who they are with ID because their signature changed. Right. And I think that's already in place. And unless we all of a sudden have some folks that all of a sudden know how to sign somebody else's signature accurately, I don't see how it's going to result in fraud in and of itself. Now, again, I don't support bad actors. And so I think if there is fraud, then not only do, obviously those ballots need to not be counted, but those folks need to be prosecuted.